Hello, one and all, castaways, houseguests, racers, chefs, queens, and fetchers, and welcome to the first ever Crossroads of Reality podcast. I am Survivor Superfan and aspiring Big Brother Superfan Ben Friedman, here today with my lovely three co-hosts. Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
I'm Richard Mai, Survivor Superfan, Big Brother fan, and aspiring Amazing Race fan.
I am Caroline Muller, a Survivor Superfan and aspiring Amazing Race fan.
I'm Kerry Spencer. I'm an Amazing Race fan and a Survivor fan against my will.
For the record, she willingly watched season 42 with us. Also, none of you are super fans, so please get on my level next time.
I have a buff.
You have a buff. Yeah, we have. Richard and I have 3 each.
And I can name all 40 winners. I know this is not as much as you, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I can name, let's see, winners, runner-ups, tribes.
And their colors.
Eliminations.
Third out, eliminations. I have no life, so we started this podcast.
I have a buff, have seen most seasons, and I'm terrible with names, but I can tell you a lot about the game itself.
Yeah,
That's
wonderful.
pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
psych
pretty good.
majors.
Woo! So,
Nice.
today's episode is basically just going to be sort of a basic intro. Who are we? How did we get into reality TV to where we are today? And just favorite seasons of shows that we've mentioned already. So, who wants to start us off?
I will, because why not?
Go ahead.
So, I mean, like I mentioned, Caroline and I are both psychology majors, and that naturally drew me to Survivor and Big Brother, the game of strategy, the game of lies, manipulation, social interaction, just really fascinates me, so it got me on that train, and then I was already aware of Amazing Race, and then when I started hanging out with Kerry more, I started watching it even more. So reality TV is in general, I've been watching a lot of it, various different shows. I decided to name the 3 main ones, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, my intro to it was a bit more unorthodox. I actually first saw an episode of Survivor at my friend's house, just playing the TV in the background, and it interested me, so I just started watching it more, and like Richard said, the psych major kind of in me really liked the way the game worked and the gameplay, and I was very interested in the physical aspect and the challenges, and I just kind of went from there, watching seasons when I could. And
Do you remember
Getting
which
old.
season was on the TV at the time?
it was one of the, I want to say mid-teens, like it was one of the earlier seasons.
I really was early.
But
That's when the show was still, like, culturally relevant.
yeah.
Okay, so for me, actually, I remember watching a season of The Amazing Race with my dad. Like, one of the first season I watched, I remember watching the end of it, and then I believe it was season 17, which aired in 2010. And I've watched pretty much every season past that. And also, I remember watching a little bit of Survivor, kind of towards the beginning. And also, I really liked The Amazing Race, because I really liked to travel, and I liked seeing where they would travel. So I always enjoyed that. Like, I don't know, yeah.
For me, it was like a very, very selective. Like, I knew Survivor from the beginning. Like, I grew up knowing who, like, Boston Rob was in my house, so that was sort of, like, my first intro to it. I remember, like, very vividly always watching, like, first episodes of seasons and then saying, okay, this is the season. I finally start watching Survivor fully. And then I never did. So, and then from there, like, COVID happened, and I really caught up on it to the point where it became my quarantine obsession, and now I know way too much about it. Big Brother, same thing went, but I always just was like, oh, it's not as good as Survivor just because it's people bitching at each other in a house. And yeah, to some extent, that's what it is. But I got into it this sort of, like, past year. I've been keeping up with BB24, and that was sort of, like, my moment where I'm just like, I hate this show, but I have no choice intrinsically but to just fucking watch it.
Yeah?
So now, favorite seasons, I think we're gonna go with favorite seasons of, like, Survivor, because that's something that I think most of us here are in terms of our, like, this group, it's the most we're, like, well-rounded on.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
So, someone who's not me, please go first.
I'll take it then, because y'all are pointing at me clearly. So it's really hard for me to name, like, one standout season. Like, I was talking to Kerry earlier before we started this, started recording, and I mentioned I really, really, really want to talk about Survivor 40, but I'm going to withhold myself for a different episode in complete respect and love for Caroline, who has yet to finish it.
This is all
I am working on it.
It's all Paramount Plus's fault. If it was on Hulu, this wouldn't be a
Fully
fucking
agree.
issue.
Yes, agreed. I mean, that's fair. But so I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna categorize it for myself, and I'm gonna say what in my opinion is one of, if not the best, it's in my top 3 best seasons of an entirely new cast of Castaways, and that's going to be Survivor Cagayan. I think the gameplay overall was phenomenal throughout. Really smart. It introduced us to Tony and Wu and Spencer and Tasha, Chaos Cass, Trish, also as Tony now culturally what's the word for it? Like
I don't know.
like culturally wrong, let's say that. Like
Unaware?
way he called Trish anorexia.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so many really great personalities.
God, I love how half these shows didn't age well.
Yeah,
That's
it
great.
really did not age well.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the gameplay, I think Tony played so masterfully, and in my opinion, is one of the greatest winners of all time. The Spy Shack, like overall, just such a great season from front to end. So many funny characters like Jatia spilling the rice in the fire, and you know, such a great season overall. Like, that is, in my opinion, one of the best, like, intro seasons of somebody who's trying to learn what Survivor is, you know, that kind of stuff. What do you guys think?
I have to fully agree with you. I mean, that's definitely on the top of one of my list. Like, I'm the same way. I can't really pinpoint an exact season that's my favorite, but that introduced so many people, like you said, that I think really kind of helped evolve the game and make it what it is today.
I think Cagayan really shows one main aspect of the game, which is literally life-changing decisions. Talk about Wu. Right at the end, had a chance to win $1 million.
Before we go further, spoilers if you haven't seen any
Thank
of
you,
these
Ben.
seasons.
Thank you, Ben.
We're going to be talking about a lot.
Spoiler rich. Yeah.
And there will be, spoilers everywhere. Survivor 43 comes out in 2 weeks. We're going to be spoiling that. So just, like, err on the side of caution.
Yes.
We will talk about other, like, things that are spoilery. Yep, that is the word. But for the purpose of this, they are spoilers, so
Yes.
just prepare yourself. Now you can go
Yes. I mean, with Wu really fumbled the bag there, to use Ben's famous phrase.
I love that
over
phrase
the last
so much.
week. No, I think I loved Wu, and Wu I think is such a likable player and a likable guy that it was really like distressing. It was weird because like when I watched the season the first time, it was very bittersweet because you had somebody who I liked so much in Wu really mess up so majorly, you know, by not taking such a GOAT as in Cass, you know, who he would have had a guaranteed $1 million against, but instead decided to, you know, go on the side of loyalty and decided to take Tony, who played a far superior game. I think the only person whose game was comparable to Tony that season was Spencer, who I'm so happy that they brought him back for a future season, because what a great player. Yeah.
I also kind of love how, like, even if you think, oh, maybe Cass would have had it over Wu, it would have all had to come down to jury questioning, but
Yes.
for those who have seen, like, the Ponderosa videos also for those who don't know, Ponderosa is where the jury for any Survivor season stays, and they used to film videos about just, like, them getting there. When Cass got to Ponderosa, no one fucking talked to her. Like, it was dead silent. Everyone was just staring at the bar, whereas compared to Spencer, like Spencer the day before, everyone was like, oh man, you know, that sucks to see you were the one we wanted to go out. Cass got nothing.
And what's really interesting is that when you look at, you know, the separate games, rewatching it, Cass actually played a pretty decent game towards the end. She had the idea to take out Tony, if I'm not mistaken, and she had the move. She flipped constantly. Like, she looked like a fish. She was flipping left and right. And so I think that's the part that rubbed the jury the wrong way. I don't think it was a matter of, you know, she played a better game. It comes down to the beauty of the game of Survivor, the social part, where it becomes something that you guys will hear us say a lot when it comes to Big Brother and Survivor, and that is jury management.
Yeah.
And she did a god-awful job at it.
She was severely lacking socially.
Cass, Russell, Paul from Big Brother.
Yup.
Yeah.
Paul is like example A. Like I'm gonna bring that up when we go to Big Brother.
Yeah. I mean, speaking to Wu's decision to take Tony, it could have gone either way for him, because some of the jury could have taken it as he was staying true to himself and loyal, like he had preached the whole game. But I do think ultimately taking Cass would have been the better decision.
Not
Like, it would
only
have been in
that,
his
but
better
he would have
interest
also-
because he would have won intrinsically. Like,
Yeah, but
no
the thing is, he
question.
also would have been, to your point, he would have been able to say that he single-handedly did the one thing that nobody else could do, and that was take out Tony.
Get rid of Tony, yeah.
Like, clearly the biggest threat of that season.
But also, like, that's also just a great, like, notion of Tony's strategy that he was
Yeah.
basically able to just completely flip Wu's entire ideology on the basis of, like, you know, loyalty. Like, that, like, the way he was able to just kind of do that and have Wu just be like, yup, he's right, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm gonna do, is absolutely insane.
But part of what I do question is, again, when I rewatched the season, I realized, like, had Wu taken Cass to the end, there was a way that Cass could have taken the credit for that. Because she did have a talk with Wu beforehand and try to, like, lull him into the idea of why would you take such a good player? Why would you, you know, play so loyal? Why don't you take someone that you know you can beat? So in a way, had he taken Cass, she technically could have taken credit for it. But I feel like that's just, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't.
She could have made that argument, but at least it would have put them on a more even playing field significantly. And speaking to Tony's, like, playing on Wu's loyalty, I think it has to be mentioned that Tony is a cop. He has training in that. He is very well versed in how to play to people's different personalities.
Wait, Tony was a cop? I thought he was a construction worker.
Yeah. He likes going undercover. Hence the spy shack. So I think that was just another asset that he brought to the game because he really knew how to play people and use that to his advantage.
The way he played Lucina was masterful.
Yeah.
Like, he used Lucina, like he played her like a toy. Like, it was brilliantly done.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like, Tony was just so masterful with every move. He knew how to do things, when to do things. Now, will we say sometimes his behavior could have been a little bit rash? Yes, because apparently he does speak llama. So, I mean, yeah. But I think it's such a great season overall with so many different, like, important factors of the game without having too many twists. Like, there was no Redemption Island, no Edge of Extinction, which terms we will explain.
It had the super idol, though, which was not great.
Yes.
That.
But I will say, like, overall, it wasn't too many twists, and it was still, you know, down to enough basic where it's a really great introduction for people who are trying to get into the show.
And I know, like, if any, like, real Survivor fans are, like, out there listening to this, like, oh, of course they would mention Kageon. I mean, we mention it because the quality is just...
Yes.
Like, it's that good. It's that good.
It's
top
that good.
tier. Top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline, I peeked at your phone, but are you talking about Cambodia?
I am.
Okay, so I
think you should do...
I'll do the one I was gonna do.
Yeah.
But, hey, Kerry, why don't you talk? You haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
Well, see, I to preface, I have never really watched Survivor.
42.
Well, yes, okay.
That
yes,
counts.
yes, I watched 42, but like it's 42. So like I haven't watched a lot. Okay, I'm not.
That was a good season of
not,
the show.
I'm not roasting 42. I'm just saying that I haven't watched any of like the big name seasons.
Fair enough.
No,
Fair
I think
enough.
what Kerry's going for is, like, the first era, so to speak, of that
Yeah,
first
yeah.
40.
The only bit of a season I've watched is the first few episodes of Philippines. That's all I've watched.
Just really
Yeah.
good.
Which is
It's a great season.
I love
Fantastic
Philippines. I love Philippines. I
Yeah.
actually really enjoy it. What I'm most likely gonna do is I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to finish
Yes.
Philippines because I want to get into Survivor because you guys
Yes.
hype it so much. I'm
Denise.
hearing-
And now we have
the-
Paramount
Denise,
Plus.
I mean,
the
I'm-
sex therapist.
I'm hearing you guys hype up this season so much. And I'm
Put
like,
that
I
one
have
under
to
out of
watch.
context moments. The sex therapist.
Love that. I'm gonna say I fucking love Denise.
Yes.
Love
Great.
her. I love Malcolm.
Yes.
Love
Who
Malcolm.
doesn't?
Love Malcolm.
Love Malcolm.
It's like a second coming of Ozzy. Like,
No,
He's
honestly.
a better Aussie.
He's a better
No,
Aussie.
I don't know
That's
who
my
Ozzy
hot
is,
take.
but I'll take your word for it.
You will learn, Kerry.
Okay,
Learn.
perfect,
But yeah.
perfect. Okay. Oh wait, okay. So you want me to talk?
Yeah, by all
Okay,
means.
well,
Please.
so I am I'm not talking about Survivor.
We're gonna move on because I know you have Amazing Race stuff.
Kerry,
Is
because
it-
we're going show by show.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Is there anything else you want to say about Philippines?
Amazing Race. Okay, well, Survivor. Okay, look, the three of them talk about this show so much that I feel like I need to watch it, and I never knew where to start. And you literally just
Yeah.
said, like, this is a good season.
Hi,
for me.
have you met Survivor Kagiyan?
Yeah.
Exactly, thank you. Yeah, that's what I was getting to, basically. You were
yeah.
saying that this is a season for people that haven't that it's a good way to get into the
Yeah.
show, because there's not, like, too many twists. Like you said, completely new cast, there's no returning people, so it's not like...
There's no lore.
So no, it's not saying that, like, oh, like, let's say, like, going to, like, All-Stars, right? All-Star, like, with Amber. So it's, like, obviously, like, you're not gonna know those people unless you've watched their previous seasons.
Yeah.
But this is a completely new cast. No, like, crazy, like, from what you guys are saying, there's no twists that are, like, too crazy that's not, like, takes away from the experience. So I think I agree. Like, well, I probably am going to take your word for it. It's probably the next season I'm going to watch after I finish Philippines.
I think Kagiyan, Philippines, and the season that I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about are really great intro seasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
so let me throw it over to you, Ben. Then.
So we're gonna go to intro seasons and then like lines for like.
Yeah, but I think I know what you're going to talk about. So please do.
David versus
Thank
Goliath.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic season.
Survivor David vs. Goliath is, in my opinion, I think it is modern Survivor done right. It's not the complete overload. It's not the complete overload of seasons like Survivor 41. It doesn't have like a disappointing fucking ending like Survivor Edge of Extinction.
Yep.
It doesn't have a terrible cast like Survivor Ghost Island.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ghost Island was alright. Let me.
Ghost Island was like you had a few good ones and then the rest were like mediocre.
Ghost Island was a Big Brother cast put on a beach, except for maybe like Dom and Wendell.
That's really fair.
And Laurel. I like Laurel. Anyway, David vs. Goliath is modern Survivor done right. I think it has a good amount of twists that it's not too like overwhelming, but it keeps the game interesting. Yep. It has shifting power dynamics. It has amazing characters, mainly John and Christian, and Angelina. Angelina's so goddamn funny. Yeah. The whole
also a brilliant idol block.
The only time the idol nullifier was used for good, because the other time it was used for something not good.
Yes.
And then of course I think one of my favorite personal Survivor moments, the John blindside when the David split from the minority, which is never really happened until then. And then the fact that the winner of the season, Nick, was going to be the first boot if Pat didn't get medevac. It's such an interesting season. It keeps you hooked in. Like, I still have texts from a friend who I got like into Survivor, and they watched this season, and I have the text from them watching the John blindside, and it was basically like, oh my god, yes, thank God, Davey used the idol for Christian. Wait, no, Dan, don't use the idol for Angelina. Wait, they got out John? And it's like, holy shit, like, it's this insane moment. It was also very fun to see John Morrison for Ben and Richard.
Richard and I are wrestling fans. Grew up on WWE, so it was very fun for us to see John Hennigan, John Morrison, keep 20 million names.
It's a great season. I feel like everyone knows that. So I'm going to also quickly touch on another starter Survivor season, which I think is kind of underrated. Season 33, Survivor Millennials versus Gen X.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Which is so good, and I feel like no one talks
I'm
about
writing a list, guys.
No, I'm telling you, I agree with those. I agree with what Ben. Okay, here's it. If I'm gonna name mine, I'm agreeing with with the three that Ben said, which is, Kagiyan, David vs. Goliath, Millennials, Gen X.
I didn't say Kagiyan, but thanks.
No, I know, but I'm saying Kagiyan.
For intro seasons.
Yes,
Yeah.
for intro seasons, it should be remembered that Philippines is not actually a full new cast.
That's true.
There is Scoopin, Russell, and one of my favorite,
One of the biggest
Jonathan Penner. I love Penner.
Love
so
Penner.
much.
He
Penner
was such an
so
icon.
Yeah, wait, Kerry, talk about Penner real
Can I
quick.
talk about when he's looking for the idol with the rice? Genuinely one of my favorite. I remember watching that with you, Richard.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing?
I was thinking of Russell Swan looking for the idol. And, he's literally in the, for those who don't know, the idol in Philippines, there were only 3, and they were hidden directly at camp, and, little symbols on top of each tribe's, rice bag.
The
rice basket. And, fucking Russell Swan is I'm gonna be right on top of it, and the editors are gonna make fun of me, and they just have a flash of the idol, and I'm just sitting there dying.
No, another part I need to talk about though is I can't remember exactly who it was, but it's when they exchanged their rice.
Oh, that was Calabao and Tandang,
Yes.
Like the one challenge where Scoopin and Penner are just laying on like the
Yes.
giant
Yes.
ball in
Yes.
the middle of the mall.
Yes.
Oh,
then-
that was
And they
hilarious.
have to make like the pact that like, okay, I'm gonna give you like all of our rice supplies, but then we get like
The
reward.
It was the reward, yeah.
Yeah, but then was it Scoopin? Was like, I am going to forage for food for all of us. Then he goes fishing, and he doesn't find anything.
Anything.
And
He
then
comes
everyone
up
shits
completely
on him
empty.
for it. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Because you promise you will get food
He's like, "I will get
for
food for
giving
you
up
guys."
the rice, and
But
then
then
you
he
go
doesn't.
and you don't
How
find
do you st-
jack fuck
How
nothing.
did they not get
Like-
him out for that? How did he get so far for doing that?
Also, just on a non-like reality too. For those who don't know, so this is the fun part where we introduce this. We're all students at Syracuse University, and this is completely not reality related. This is just something we had to mention. The Syracuse football running back, his name is Sean Tucker, and what he likes to do is tweet about his performances after the games.
Yep.
And so he likes to say if he's pleased with his performance, if he's not pleased. His tweet just came out about yesterday's game. We're filming this on a Sunday when Syracuse just like completely thrashed UConn, and he said he's okay with his performance and that he could have done better, but he's pleased with the outcome. So that means he's gonna go fucking off next Saturday.
And he rushed
And thank God, 'cause we got
112
Purdue.
freaking
Yeah.
yards.
All right, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Bring it back to what the podcast is actually about. Caroline, if you would like to
Yes.
talk about your season that you've chosen that I know Ben and I are very excited for you to talk about.
The season I chose, kind of taking it a different route than Ben and Richard. This is not an intro season. This is with the full cast of 20 returning players. Survivor season 31, Cambodia, also known as Survivor Second Chance.
The
So
best season, do at me.
it is easily one of the top 2 or 3
Yeah.
seasons for me.
I'll agree with
Because
that.
the cast that was brought back, all members, none have won, but all did very well in their seasons, and I think, majority-wise.
Well, the important part about it was that they were favorites. They were
No, exactly.
They
They
were
were
fan
fan
I
chosen.
love the way it was revealed at the Survivor 30 finale. I
Oh,
love
you
the way that
showed me
was
that
revealed.
video.
That was the
When
only
they went to
good
the
part
group.
of Survivor 30.
Yes, the only good part of Survivor 30.
Yeah, I remember
and
you
the
showed
thing
me
is,
the
okay,
video.
let me preface this. They know this, but Survivor 30 has one of my top 3 least favorite winners in the history of this show.
Who?
Mike
Mike
Holloway.
Oh,
Mike
yes.
Holloway.
Mike
Yes, of
Holloway
course.
is a absolute idiot. like I'm sure he's a great guy outside the game, but in the game of Survivor, he is a moron.
Here's the
We've
thing,
heard a lot
he's
about
a moron,
this.
but he's also $1 million
I
richer
love,
than all
I
of us.
know.
Richard, I love you had to preface that you think that he's a great guy outside.
I do not. I
Richard
do
is
not,
coving his ass with
I
that
do
comment.
not.
Yeah,
want-
exactly, exactly.
I do not want to defame anybody or anything.
Yes, you
This
do.
is my
do.
personal opinion, and when I watched the way he played the game of Survivor, I just didn't like him as a player. I just don't think that he was that good of a winner.
I have to
I
agree
think
with
there
you
could
on
have been better
that.
people. I think Sharin played better. I would have loved to see like Sharin, or I think Mama C was
Carolyn.
great.
Oh,
Carolyn,
she was-
Carolyn.
she deserved
in
to go
my
for
opinion,
that.
that was my winner of that season.
Yeah.
I loved Mama C.
That was
Would-
such a bad jury. That was a bad
it was
season of
a
Survivor.
bad season. So as we said, that was the reveal of the Survivor 31 cast was about the only good part. And for those of you who have not seen the video, please look it up. It's amazing.
It's a great video.
Yeah.
At the end of the grand finale, is this after the reunion? I believe so,
I
right?
think it's like middle of the reunion.
It's either middle of the reunion. Regardless, it is after the winner has been crowned. Jeff Probst goes into audience where a bunch of former players who have only played once, looking for, as Caroline said in the name, second chance.
Only played once and never won.
Exactly, yes. And he goes through the audience and he finds batches of Survivor players and lets them know whether they've made it on the
I
show or
forgot
not.
that this happened. Yeah.
It is. I love the way they did the cast
See,
reveal. It's
that's it.
really
And
well done.
they left immediately.
Yes, and
to
they
go
they
to-
went
Well,
right on the stage
another-
and
A fun
Yeah, it's
fact
both.
is actually they filmed season 32 co-wrong
Before
before
31.
Cambodia, which is very interesting. But I also kind of love.
yeah.
I love
Because when you have to
Oh,
look at the
yeah.
way that it is filmed, it takes so. Sorry to cut you off, Ben, but it
Yeah,
takes so long that they had filmed 32 just because they had the time to do so.
Oh.
Because it's common for them to just do like one season, and then I think it's just like right after they finish filming one season, correct me if I'm wrong, they just start right away on another one.
Yeah, like 2 weeks. Like a lot of people who have played back to back, like Russell Hantz
Yes.
between Samoa
Yeah.
and Heroes vs Villains, or Malcolm,
Malcolm, yeah.
or Zeke. Like they give them like 2-3 weeks at
Yeah.
best, and then boom, they're back.
That is, I think this was pointed out. This is like one of the big benefits that I think this was pointed out in Russell Hans's game when he came back for Heroes vs. Villains, and for Zeke when he came back, that when you come back for a season right back to back, with a season that was just filmed, nobody knows your game. Nobody knows how you're gonna play. So when Samoa aired, Russell Hans, easily one of the greatest villains in the history of Survivor.
Yeah.
Who played a insane game on Samoa.
Yeah.
Comes for Heroes vs. Villains. They put him on the villain tribe, but nobody knows why. Nobody knows who Russell is, how he plays.
My favorite urban legend, and I don't know how true this is, but my favorite thing is that apparently heading to the airport to fly back to Samoa to do Heroes vs. Villains, Russell held a Bible out in the open to gain trust with JT,
Yes.
which is all the more better considering JT gave Russell his fucking idol.
He was playing them from the beginning.
Kerry.
Oh yeah.
He was.
It is.
Whoa.
Russell Hans
There's
is
a lot of
really
information.
good.
He is one of the super villains. However, he has
He is one of the
amazing
super villains of all
gameplay.
time.
He has amazing gameplay, and he's a great example of pretty crap jury management.
Yeah, he didn't
But
play that.
sorry, I digress. Let's return back to Cambodia.
We're gonna be digressing a lot.
A lot,
on this
yeah.
podcast.
But yeah,
we
go
tend
ahead.
to get sidetracked.
I think, go ahead. I'll let
Okay,
you
but going back
intro
to Cambodia with the second chance players, not only did they bring back returning players, they brought back challenges from past seasons.
Yeah.
And it brought back a lot of good challenges that we hadn't seen for a while from the earlier seasons, and kind of brought back that nostalgia with it, which I really enjoyed seeing those played again with slightly newer, more modern players, really.
Yeah.
New era Survivor players, some of them. So that was with the challenges. And then for the first episode of this season, when after the first immunity challenge, the losing tribe, they brought immediately to tribal council without letting them confer with each other. And this was before the controversial topic of live tribals. I think that was a very interesting dynamic that it introduced, because it was just based off of first impressions of players that a lot of them had seen in previous seasons. So they knew slightly about gameplays from other seasons. So that's where those preconceived notions of the players really came into play before they got to actually know them for themselves.
I think they also did something similarly cool on Winners of Warren. This is something that you have seen. It was the first episode.
Okay.
Where they do the first immunity challenge, and when Sele loses, Jeff is all right, you're not gonna go to Treble tonight. You're gonna go tomorrow night, which I think is A, because they need to build the shelter, but B, I also think that's really interesting because then they have way more time than a normal tribe would to get to tribal to actually talk it through.
But I do have to say, Survivor Cambodia has, in my opinion, one of, if not the best final threes or final twos in the show. What a fantastic final tribal. Spencer, Tasha, and Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
What a great trio to have for that, for a finale. A great cast overall. I think the reason why it's so highly regarded is due to the fact that it was voted on by fans, and fans wanted to see a good game, and damn, they chose a really good cast. I mean, we talked about Shirin. Was
fans
so
really
happy
came
to see
through.
Shirin back. I mean, you
And
even
then
had
she got voted out second.
you even had people from very old seasons such as PG,
Wigglesworth,
Terry Deeds, Wigglesworth. I was gonna get to Wigglesworth last, but thank you for saying her name.
Kimmy.
Yes,
Kimmy, who did very well considering
Yes.
she was on season 2.
Kimmy Kappenberg, who played it as if it was her first time, fantastically.
Yeah, she's also a bad person outside of the game, though.
Yeah. But I mean,
That aside.
the versatility in the seasons and in the individuals playing, was, I will say, my one thing, and I think this is a testament to how good this season is. It is very Kaguyan heavy. Or at least how well received the season was. For them to bring back 4 people from that season.
It also
Out of
came
20,
out.
yeah.
Cass, Spencer, and Tasha.
Yeah,
I
that was a
also really
fifth of...
Oh, sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying, that's a fifth of the cast for this season, so, yeah.
And I was gonna say they also did take a chance on the San Juan del Sur representers, especially especially Kelly Wentworth, because she was a pre-merge. She was the swap screw of that season.
Yeah.
And then she came back and played one of the best non-winning games I've ever seen on Survivor.
Wentworth does not count.
Yeah.
Wentworth does not count. Wentworth
No, that was
does not
Will.
count.
That was Will not
Will
count.
not count, sorry.
Okay, that episode just constantly
good.
goes through my
He
brain.
made it to the jury. All right.
That
so
was the Savage Blindside, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Survivor. Survivor.
God, Ben.
So now let's move on to other shows. Does anyone here have a show they wanted to?
Me.
Yes, you, the young lady in the back.
Oh, hi guys. So I can talk now. Yay.
Welcome, Kerry.
Thank you. So sweet.
Long time listener,
Glad
first
to
time
have
guest.
you here.
What?
He's a long-time listener, first-time guest.
Yeah, I'm honored, guys. You know,
Oh
it
my
really,
gosh.
It really means a lot to be here.
No,
We
please,
missed
go
you.
ahead.
We
We
missed
know
you.
what you're going to talk about,
Well, you
please.
know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about The Amazing Race, guys.
Yes!
Never would have guessed.
Oh, and I never would have guessed you would have talked about Survivor. So,
Touche.
As said the intro to our PowerPoint on PowerPoint night.
True.
Yes.
Something never
To-
seen
to
before.
preface, we
Richard and Ben talking about
Yeah.
Survivor.
okay,
Hot kettle.
This is the last thing This is the last thing we're gonna say about Survivor. I am honored to be compared to Kim. I am honored.
Yeah.
Who was I compared to?
I'll look it up.
Oh,
Yeah, please. Please,
Okay.
we'll do it later. We'll do it
Well,
later.
I'm just saying,
Kerry,
I
go ahead.
love
Amazing Race.
based on how much that Richard hypes up Kim. I'm talking about The Amazing Race, guys. So I have a lot, since I am like the specialty person for The Amazing Race here, I have a lot of seasons I'm covering. The first one I'm gonna cover, I have a lot of options, guys. Okay, we're gonna go to the first one that I have up here, which is 22. Amazing Race season 22 they didn't win, but it has one of my favorite winners of all time. Not for the season, is Dave and Connor. Dave and Connor, if you don't remember who they are, from season 22, they ended up getting 10th in this season or 9th, because Dave, or like the dad, he tore his ACL while going to the pit stop. And he competed 2 more legs on crutches.
That's impressive.
And then the only reason why they got out is because he had to get emergency surgery. So he left. So they both left. And to preface them, Dave and Connor are a father and son duo. They are both cancer survivors. They had cancer at the same time. And they both competed together post, obviously,
Post-remission.
Yes, exactly. They compete on the show. They came back 2
They were
seasons.
cancer-free, I believe, at that point, yeah?
Yes, they were. They both were. And then they came back 2 seasons later for Amazing Race 24, aka All-Stars. This is the second All-Star season that they had. The first one was season 10. This one brought back a lot of seasons, mostly from the 20s, so seasons 20 through 23. One of the teams that came back was Dave and Connor. Dave and Connor ended up winning the season, winning, I believe, 7 of the legs on this season. And Dave and Connor are the first All-Star winners to win a leg before the final leg. Meaning that the team from All-Stars from season 10 didn't win a single leg before going into the final. But Dave and Connor won 7 of them. And I love Dave and Connor so much. They're so good. I love them. I really need to rewatch that season. It's so good. But go back to season 22, I have to preface some of the cast members in that. 2 people in specific, Joey Graceffa and Megan, aka Gamerboy. Can you imagine 2013 me watching that season, seeing Joey Graceffa? As a Joey Graceffa fan at the time, I was losing my shit. No, genuinely. And then there's the part, there's the part with the scorpion. I'm gonna say, I think he eats a scorpion, and it's great. It's so funny.
Sounds fun.
It's really fun.
I
They
think
actually
I might do that one day.
Well, I love that for
Yeah.
you. That's really nice. Well, actually, that was a very good segue into another season, Richard, that I know, because I watched this with you. Season 28.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I want to talk
We're
about.
talking about season 28, because
Yes.
I need someone to bounce off of
Thank
here.
you.
Season 28 is, to go back with, as we know, Joey Graceffa is a YouTuber. There's a season 28, that is all YouTubers. Every single team is a YouTuber. My favorite player in this season is Tyler Oakley.
So good.
So good.
So good.
You know, remember when he did YouTube?
He's now a
Yeah.
landlord.
Oh, how the mighty have
Fun
fallen.
fact.
No, but
Yeah.
Okay. Carrie and I remember every single time we watched
season.
this season.
We watched this a couple months ago.
Every single time they came on, Kerry and I's faces just lit up like a fucking light
bulb.
bulb.
Can I tell you,
Like,
Tyler Oakley has an energy that is so contagious.
Yes.
And I felt that when I watched his videos on YouTube.
Yes.
And I still felt it watching the show.
His laugh is infectious.
Oh, look, and also if it means anything, if you don't know, I believe it works the same way for Survivor, but the episode titles are based off quotes.
Yes.
Predominantly
is the way it works in Survivor.
Yeah,
predominantly.
very much.
In this season, Tyler and Corey, who was Tyler's teammate, had every single quote. Literally all the quotes in the season were, like, the episode titles were either something they said. My favorite is, it was like bros being dudes. It was about Brody and Kurt, as you know, they're from Dude Perfect, and they're like big guys.
They're not actually from. They collaborated with them a few times back when that was like
Yes.
a
What?
cool thing.
Knowing
Yes.
you
You know what I mean.
Back
basically,
check, baby.
and I remember they were like running around. I remember what the exact
Yeah.
challenge. He was like, "Oh, just bros being dudes," and it became the episode title. And they are such a good team.
Yeah.
They got third in that season, and they
Yeah.
returned for a later season. I believe either 30 or 31, and they got second.
For the record, for those of you who don't know, first of all, please listen to Second Chance. The Second Chance podcast. Because you will understand it way more after that, like, if you hear us then. But me and Kerry have a pact
Yes.
that we will be applying
For
to
the
be
Amazing
a
Race.
duo on the Amazing Race.
Yes.
And our goal is to be, like,
We want to be the fan favorite.
like the Tyler and Corey, like, the infectious
Well,
fan favorite. Like, I know Team Fun.
I want to be Team Fun.
Definitely infectious.
Oh.
Yeah.
More like a disease.
No.
I don't know if that's the right thing to say in these troubled times.
No, but,
Oh,
yeah. I think,
that might be a little
yeah.
bit.
Well, yeah, continue on
Yeah,
Amazing
well,
Race 28.
Well, what do I talk about? Like,
I mean,
what
how
you love about
crappy of winners Dana
okay,
and Matt
well,
are.
if we're going back to season
My
28.
God.
Which I believe a lot of people agree with me on this.
Yes.
Dana and Matt are
Suck.
They are the worst winners I have ever seen on this show.
It is like.
That is a very
No,
loaded
but I will say.
statement.
Okay.
Well, I'm also gonna say they are in the same situation like I mentioned with the first All-Star season. They did not win a single leg before getting
Yep.
to the final leg. They also spent every episode screaming at each other. I'm gonna tell you right now, as of right in this season, they were engaged. They're now divorced.
Yep.
They called off their marriage. They're
Oh.
not married. If you know who they are, they were these dancers on YouTube. I don't even know if they still.
Yeah,
do
they didn't
YouTube
really
anymore.
pull. Okay, I will say though.
Which season were they?
For a
Yeah.
season 28. For a season of YouTubers, they pulled some pretty freaking mediocre YouTubers, except for Tyler Oakley and the next person.
Zach King.
I know.
Do not roast Zach
I know. Zach. You kill
Bernie and Ashley were cool.
Zach
Darius was
Oh my
cool.
God, they had a BuzzFeed. Sorry.
It was clever.
Sorry, clever.
It was
Sorry.
clever. Do
Sorry.
not
Jocelyn.
do
Sorry.
Aaron Jocelyn.
I'm
do
so
not
sorry.
do Aaron Jocelyn like
Okay,
that.
no, but here's what I was gonna mention. Sherry and Cole.
Oh, stop. Okay, I have to preface, Cole is not a good person. Do not stand Cole. That's all I'm gonna say.
Cole LeBrant was on this season with his mom. It was
They actually
really.
did a pretty good job.
They did a pretty good job for the fact that they were like I'm pretty sure near last almost every single
Yes, they
goddamn
ended up getting
leg.
second.
I still am at odds how
Oh,
they
agreed.
finished
Oh,
ahead
no. Well, no.
of Tyler and
No,
Corey.
it's because Tyler
right.
choked. There was this
Yes.
challenge they had to like jump off a building and
Yes.
crack the clue, but it took Tyler like 3 tries.
So what you're saying is, Tyler fumbled the bag.
Oh my
Yes.
God, Ben, enough.
Yes.
But-
Question.
yes.
So
We-
the
we're-
winners of this season, are they your Mike Holloway?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are my Mike Holloway. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Bringing it back to Survivor, guys. I love it.
Always.
Yeah.
So, what other amazing races you gonna bring
oh
to?
my God. Okay. Well, Okay. I'm getting a message in my ear. I have a microphone. No, I don't have a microphone. I'm trying to make a joke. But Amazing
You
Race.
don't know if that's true. You can't see us.
Yeah, you can't see. There's no video. How do you know if I have a microphone or not? Well, I have a little devil in my ear
It's
named Richard.
named Richard, who's telling me to cover Amazing Race season 7, notably because of the cast. And we're gonna, since it all goes back to Survivor.
Remember that Boston Rob guy I mentioned at the top
Yeah.
of the show?
Rob and Amber.
Rob and Amber are in this season. If you don't know who Rob and Amber are, they are both winners of Survivor.
At
I
the
know-
time, Rob was not.
At the time,
This was right
this
after
was
Amber's
before.
win.
This season is right. This season, I believe they filmed this season and aired right after Amber won.
Yes.
And Rob proposed to
And
Amber
Yes.
so
at the
absolutely,
reunion
yes.
show.
For fans of Survivor,
Yes.
and specifically Rob, Mariano, and Amber, then Burkich, and now Mariano.
Neither.
Thank you. This was filmed for timeline purposes in between the finale of Survivor All Stars, which Amber won, and the TV special, the 2 or 3 part, right?
I think two.
Two part special, Rob and Amber get married.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
That's incredible.
Rob and Amber
CBS
are-
pulled all the stops for
I love
for
that.
the.
Oh, it was just a
wedding.
TV movie with a solid 5.6 on IMDb.
Yep.
I'll
So
watch
Kerry,
it.
continue. Let's Amazing Race 7.
Well, Amazing Race 7, this is another season I watched with Richard. I'm gonna admit, we did really only watch the season because of Rob and Amber.
But they did so good.
They did so good. They were such a good team. I have to, like, one of my, I hadn't watched the season until I watched it with Richard, but they had one of my favorite moment. They were such like they were very manipulative players.
Yes.
But in a great way. They played like Survivor players.
Yes.
Well, that checks out.
Well, yeah, obviously. But, like, yes. But there was one part, it was like the first episode, I believe. They were going on the bus and they were traveling somewhere.
Yes.
Rob
Yes.
paid the bus driver $20
To leave.
to leave without all the other teams.
That $20 was all it took.
Yeah, and then there was another time
What
where
year was
Foreign
Amazing
currency.
Race 7? I was gonna say. It was different.
Carolina,
And-
Yeah.
the foreign currency as well.
yeah,
Oh, fair.
yeah, and also there's another time where Rob gave a boat driver his Boston hat to go faster.
Yes.
That's a
there's
big
another one.
thing
Wait,
for Rob.
did
And he had an
okay,
extra one,
remember when they
obviously,
stole a
of
cab?
course. What?
When they stole a cab.
Yes, they stole
They
the
also
cab.
stole a cab from another team.
They also didn't give money to Gretchen and Meredith.
Yes. Which let's talk
Let's
about
talk
Gretchen and Meredith.
Gretchen and Meredith.
Oh my God.
I believe they are the oldest team in Amazing Race history.
Probably.
One of the oldest.
Well, probably oldest average age.
Yes.
And for those of you who are thinking, oh, these are probably like the Golden Girls, like two older ladies.
No, this
Yeah.
is a
Husband and wife.
husband and wife. I want you guys to guess who is Gretchen and who is Meredith.
Which one is the husband? Which one is the wife? Please,
Meredith.
Caroline, Ben, please guess.
Yeah,
which
who-
one is the
please
husband?
guess.
Which one is the wife?
Meredith is the husband.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think.
Yes.
I think they're right.
I think you're actually. I honestly don't remember, so it's really good that you're checking.
Just makes sense to me.
Yeah. Mhm. But yeah,
Yeah.
So they actually did really well, based on like the circumstances that they went through. To preface, they got 5th in this season, and there was they had a challenge where they had to go down into a cave and find a clue.
It's so fun.
I know it's
I
so
love
fun.
caves.
They're tied for the oldest team by average age in Amazing Race history, tied with Don and Mary Jean from Amazing Race 6.
I remember. I feel like
And
I
by the
remember
way,
that.
Meredith
After
is the
another.
husband.
Meredith is the husband.
Woo!
So you guys get a point.
I'm great.
You guys get a point.
Hell.
And so basically they had to go into a cave and they travel into the cave. They go through it
Yeah.
once, but then they don't find anything. So like, oh my god, we have to go back in again. Gretchen goes in first, falls,
Oh.
and it.
What was it? Cracks open her head?
She cracked open her head. She cracked open her head, and she's like, "Oh my god, help! I'm bleeding! I'm bleeding!" Cuts to an ad break.
Yep.
No.
Evil.
Certified
Evil.
CBS moment.
And that's how they draw you back in.
Exactly.
Oh.
We looked at each other when we were watching it, and we're like, "What the fuck is happening here?" We looked when it pans back. They have like EMTs wrapping bandages around her head.
Did she
and
continue?
Yes.
Oh
Yes!
my god.
They
I-
finished
Torn
the
AC
race!
They finished the
Amazing
leg.
Race really
They
picks the
finished the
toughest
leg.
people
They
out there.
finished-
Torn
Yes.
ACL, cracked open
Yes,
head.
exactly.
Ugh.
They
Jesus.
finished that leg, and I believe they last 4 to 5 more legs after that.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Something like that, yeah.
So in the early seasons, they used to have for people who don't know, they sometimes have non-elimination rounds for the Amazing Race.
Not anymore, they don't.
No, they recently changed it. There's no more non-elimination rounds. But what they used to have are speed bumps.
Yep.
So that's what they had up until the point. I don't remember when they started, but what they used to have before that, so they would have like, not necessarily speed bumps, but challenges that would still like hinder you in the playing. For Meredith and Gretchen, they lost all of their belongings, all of their money.
Oh.
Phil said it was the meanest moment.
Yes.
Mhm.
The only thing they were allowed to keep was themselves and their clothes.
Was them
So,
Also, we're definitely going over an hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I mean,
Anyway.
Fine.
we'll go an hour
Yeah,
30 for the
so
first
when I
episode.
said-
Who cares?
Ew.
So when they come back, everyone's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry this happened." They're all like pitching in like $5.
Shannon Joyce gives them money.
They're giving
and,
like
yeah.
$5, and then they pan to Rob and Amber. Then Robert, they're like, "We're not giving them any money." So then they just don't like interact with them.
Was that Rob's idea?
Yes,
Yes,
of course
it
it was
was
Rob's
Rob's
idea.
idea.
And I remember Amber was like, "Oh,
Most
we should be
maniacal
nice."
things. Okay, here's the thing.
It's all Rob.
Most maniacal things that they came up with,
Was
Rob
Rob.
came up with it, and Amber was just happy to go along with
Yes,
it.
Amber was
Like,
happy
yeah.
to go along.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, would we Survivor fans class Amber a hero or a villain?
Amber?
Yes.
Hero.
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
Well, because she's
I
so
think Rob
willing
is-
to go along with Rob's chicanery.
but Rob is more
I'm
of an
saying in
anti-hero.
the Game of Survivor.
That's fair.
Rob
Oh,
is
the Game
more
of
of
Survivor, Amber's a hero. Yeah.
Fully agree.
Yes. So, in The Amazing Race, she was very villainous, pretty much. Like, she was very
Villain by
happy with
association.
whatever Rob had. No. She was
Oh.
like, the thing is, she never tried to stop Rob.
No.
She never.
They never
like,
had a point
whenever
where they had to,
Rob
Well,
had,
come down for
had
something.
whenever
Sure.
Rob had an idea, she went with it.
Well,
Also,
because
we
watched
because
that before
Rob
or after
notoriously
28?
has good ideas.
And this was Rob, like, at his peak villain.
After.
So
Yes.
here's my thing.
He was
What
pissed
was
about
very
losing.
funny for
Yeah.
me and Kerry was that I remember this vividly. Every single time that Rob and Amber could have fought, we literally looked and go, couldn't be Dana and Matt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Dana and Matt who argued on every single goddamn
single-
leg.
There was one point where they actually pulled over and started
Yes.
yelling at each other.
No.
Yes.
It
And
was
so
one minute
and so Rob and
So
Amber
bad.
the thing is
What
Rob and
was it?
Amber were very supportive of each other.
That was their problem. That's
Rob
why
and
they
Amber
didn't
were-
win.
Remember,
Rob and Amber
Mike
were-
Holloway.
Yeah.
Rob and Amber were very supportive of each other. And so were other couples that we've seen on the
Yes.
show. And every single time
Jenna
it
and
happened.
Joyce.
Jenna and Joyce.
Jenna, who, yes,
Do
they're
you
the
remember-
winners
oh my
of season
God.
7. As of
Let's
right now,
talk
they
about
are
it.
not together. Jenna and Joyce are not together.
They're still friends, I
They're
believe.
still
right?
friends. They are not together anymore.
We need to talk about
But-
Joyce and the.
Yes, okay.
Wait, also, before we just get off the topic of Rob and Amber, this is just a fun fact. Preemptive shout out always to Survivor Wiki, Big Brother Wiki, Amazing
Yes.
all wikis of the sort. You guys are
All
awesome.
three. Very
Love the
appreciative.
The
wikis.
work you do is amazing.
Love the wiki.
Non-sponsored.
Amber and Rob are the first team to win a trip sponsored by Travelocity.
Yes,
Yes.
that is true.
Which is so
That is
funny to
true.
me.
That is true. Which actually
Because
does
they got
fit.
free trips for Survivor.
Because Travelocity is a big sponsor for the Amazing Race,
Yes.
and I have one of my favorite challenges of all
The
time.
gnome.
Is there's a gnome challenge from season 24 that I will explain in a different episode, but it is one of my favorite series of events ever in the show.
It was so great.
So good.
It was so
So
great.
I showed it to Richard. It's so,
So
good.
great.
I love
so
gnomes.
Good. It's so good.
Thanks,
basically,
Kayla.
basically they have to make a chocolate gnome. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love chocolate too.
But yeah,
It's great.
so okay, we have to talk
Chocolate.
about Uchenna
Okay,
and
so
Joyce.
yes, Uchenna and Joyce, who are the winners of season 7, which is Rob and Amber's season. They had a challenge called I believe it's like the fast break, fast pass.
Fast pass, yeah.
Where basically they can either continue on the race, like go through all the challenges, or they can go to one challenge, and once they complete that, they can go straight to the pit stop. Uchenna and Joyce choose to go to that location.
Yes.
What's
I think
the
you told me
catch?
about this.
Well,
You have to do a
okay.
challenge.
Well, I
So,
thought.
here's the
Okay.
When you get to it,
Oh.
they walk up, they go up a hill, and they see a bunch of people standing there, and they're like, okay, this is weird. And they said, it was in the format of a roadblock, so where you had to pick, oh no, it was both. So and basically what they had to do is that they had to shave their head.
One of them.
You
Both.
did tell
It was
me about
both.
this. I remember.
It was both.
Both of them?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. It was both. of them.
Uchenna didn't have to do it because since he was already bald, but Joyce had to. And I'm obviously I can't speak on this since I obviously don't know
Yeah.
the experience. But but Joyce is a black woman, and obviously hair is very important.
Yes.
And it was a very very moving experience for her to shave her head. I mean, she was crying.
Oh, she went through with it.
She did
She
it.
did it.
And she did it.
Wow.
And it was a really, really big moment for her. And they
Yeah.
made it was like a whole speech. She did a whole speech at the end when she got to Phil at the pit stop. And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment in the show.
I think
Which I
it
feel like
is
it doesn't-
I think it's easily one of me and Carrie's favorite
It-
moments we've
it's not.
seen in that
It's
show.
something
Like,
that
it's-
doesn't get talked about enough. I feel
absolutely.
like it's such a good moment, and and they actually end up bringing the challenge back a long time later for season 30 or 31, which is the Survivor Big Brother Amazing Race season, which Rachel, is that her name? Rachel?
Yeah,
Rachel Riley.
Rachel Riley, who at this point this is her 3rd time being on the Amazing Race.
Yep.
She goes to this challenge.
And she cries.
And she cries. And she doesn't cry in the same sense that Joyce is crying. She's
No.
crying because she doesn't want to shave her head. And
She literally turned herself into a baby.
they
for
turn,
this.
and then they leave. They go back. They have to go through the challenges normally. Get last place, get out.
Yep.
And they get eliminated
Because she didn't want to
She
shave her
didn't
head.
want to shave her head.
Wow.
But I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this season specifically right after 28 is because we just bash on Dana and Matt. I think it needs to be mentioned. Uchenna and Joyce
They-
are fantastic
Yes.
winners. Like,
Yes,
as
they were
much as
really
we
good.
loved Rob and Amber, Uchenna and Joyce
Mhm.
were phenomenal
They-
winners.
A big thing that I respect by Uchenna and Joyce, though, is that they were actually considered to be kind of like the underdogs for majority of their season. Because they spent a lot, they were with Meredith and Gretchen, and, like, those were, like, Meredith and Gretchen, like, obviously, like, no one really expected them to win, no offense to them. They did a pretty good job based on their circumstances. And Uchenna and Joyce were always with them, then Rob and Amber were with, there's, I don't remember some of the other teams, but, like, there was that other team, the two guys. Right.
Yeah, the two guys,
I can't remember their names.
But the
But
thing
like
is-
they were, but once they got to like as the team started getting smaller, people like they were like seen as like okay, like they're pretty like good like to go against. Like they're pretty like, you know.
A great thing about Uchenna
Yeah.
and Joyce was
No, I mean,
the teamwork and the
Yes.
chemistry. There
Yes.
was
I mean,
support.
Yes, they were
there
very
was-
supportive of each other. If I remember correctly, the reason why they came on the show is they wanted money because they were trying to have kids.
Yes.
And they were struggling for a few years, and it was, and I think the reason why they came on the show is because they want to like help their marriage,
Yes.
and like thinking that being on the show would be a good opportunity for them to bond together, and like, and obviously everyone has like their moments on the show where you get mad at the person that you're teaming up with, but like they never made it like a big deal. They always like made up at some point, or like even like. To be honest, when Rob and Amber sometimes are like were running around, Rob would sometimes like snap at Amber, but no out of like any like malice or anything. Obviously, it would always be like resolved. But like I'm saying, going back to Dana and Matt, they never resolved anything. They would just start yelling at each other, get back in the car, get pissy, wouldn't speak to each other. They had points where they wouldn't even say a word to each other. Like how are you supposed to communicate as a team if you don't say anything?
Toxicity.
I'm still in awe that they won.
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
Like, honestly, Sherry and Cole could have been better winners.
Agreed.
Which is like really bad to say, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like
they had a big challenge at the end. It was a memory challenge where they had to memorize the locations that they went to, and they had these like block letters.
Yeah.
And
Rob didn't win that?
no, this is
a different season.
28.
Oh.
And,
Yep. Sorry.
and they had to and I believe that like Sherry, I believe it was Sherry who did it. She wrote down all of the locations in order, so she had them down pretty easy, and then I believe Tyler did as well. But like there was a lot of circumstances that led to Tyler and Corey not winning, but if they didn't happen, they totally would have won that season. Totally, 100% would have won. Yeah,
But I think. Do you have any more Amazing Race to go
no,
over?
I have to save some stuff for future episodes.
Absolutely. Ben.
Before we get on to our next thing, just to go back to the Survivor like casting PowerPoint, just to like who everyone was compared to. I was compared to Spencer, Adam, and someone who I want back very badly.
Yup.
Zach Wartenberger from Survivor 42. He was the second boot, and I love him, and he is an amazing Twitter, as does Lydia.
Oh,
I
But
would
I
love
miss
to
Zach
see-
so much.
I
I would
forgot
love
that
to
he's
see Zach being
technically
brought
second
back.
boot.
Yeah, because Jackson was first.
Yeah.
I forgot
And
about that.
like I was a little like confused as what Probst was gonna say, but he said second person voted out, so I'm like, okay, at least he wasn't first. But like, come on, I want him back.
I'd love to see him
I
back.
mean, like, I remember, like, didn't he have, like, a premiere, like, at a bar on his campus
He
or something?
did. He rented out a bar and he like
Yeah.
made
I
this
love
big
that.
speech where he was like, I'm over it. I'm
It's
good.
okay, guys.
Thank you all for watching.
I remember I saw that video. It was so funny.
Zach, if you ever listen to this somehow, I love you and I want you back
Also,
on
can
Survivor.
I also need to preface, Marianne, we love you.
Oh,
we
stand
We were
there.
rooting so hard
We're
for
rooting
Mary.
so hard for Marianne.
So
the four of us.
This is a fun story. So we and our sort of like greater friend group went on spring break to Tampa, and that was the week of episode 3 of Survivor 42, or it might have been episode 2 actually. I think it was episode 2 because the first one was a 2-hour deal.
Yes.
And it was when Taku lost immunity. So it was Marianne, it was Mariah, and then you had Jonathan, Omer, and Lindsay in the power positions, and they were debating, do we get out Marianne or do we get out Mariah? And then that just consisted of me, Kerry, and Richard. Like, all of our friends were doing stuff, and we were just staring at the TV, like, in a bit of a prayer circle, just like, please don't get out Marianne. Please don't get out Marianne.
Yep.
Please don't
And
get
then
Marianne.
when Mariah played her shot in the dark and failed, we were like, let's go!
It was like we every single week we were just praying.
We were
We were
so
just
happy.
Like, please not Marianne.
Marianne
Please
won
not Marianne.
Survivor.
And so the season finale aired after the school year ended, so we were all already at
I was
home.
working during the season finale.
So we were all at home, and I remember we had a group FaceTime call during like the final, and I remember right after she won, I was watching with my dad the season finale because he wanted to watch with me, And I remember we all called and we were talking and we were like screaming, and my dad was so confused and he was like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, he's like, what? Like, what's so exciting? So I had to explain everything to him, and I was like, we love Marianne. Just love Marianne with us, please.
So Marianne, if you hear this, we love you as well.
Love you.
Congrats
love
on
you.
the million. You're
Yes.
the best. Speaking of Marianne, Caroline was compared to Marianne, Erica, and Andrea in the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Erica
from
41. The winner.
I
Who
didn't.
deserved the win.
Okay. To preface
I will
it.
die on this hill.
I didn't watch enough
To
of the
preface
season
this, I watched every single season of Survivor from 1 through, I want to say 35. Past that, 34.
No, it was 34 Game Changers.
Yes.
And then you didn't watch 35 because 35 is Healers, Heroes, Hustlers.
Just an okay season.
But you did watch 37
Yes.
David versus
I
Goliath.
did see David versus Goliath. I also watched 42. I'm part of the way through 40, which I am really
Did you
working
watch 41 with us? You did.
here
Or
and
watch
there.
bits and pieces.
I
watched the
didn't
season finale.
watch enough of 41 to actually know that
Yeah.
season well enough. However, from the little impressions that I did get from it, I did not enjoy the gameplay and all the twists. I really have a lot of hatred towards the way they did twists during that season and the amount. I didn't really like Erica. The impression that I got from her.
I like Erica, but
Not fully.
I was one of the many Xander people.
I
who
like,
wish
for,
he
again,
would've
from
won.
the very little exposure I had to this entirety season, I would have preferred Xander.
Survivor doesn't exactly know how to edit a woman winner,
Yeah.
but that's something we'll get into.
Well, partly. I mean, they knew how to edit Parvati and Kim and
Maybe not
Not.
Sandra and Pearl Islands, yes. Sandra and Heroes vs. Villains, no. I mean, they did a good job with some of the female winners.
Yeah.
but
Although I will have to
agree
say,
with
I am more than okay being compared to two winners.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Erica fully deserved the 41 win, but Xander should have gotten at least a jury vote, which I think is fair.
Like I said, and all my opinions are based off have very little basis.
And then
Kerry and myself,
and then Kerry was compared to Sophie, Wentworth, and Tasha.
which is great.
That's a very good
That's-
comparison.
I'll take your word for
And
it.
then Richard was compared to Yule, Jason, and Omer.
Richard is very happy with
Who's compared
that.
to Kim?
I thought I was compared to Kim.
because
No one.
Because for those who do
No?
not know,
I
because
thought it was
okay,
me.
I want to preface
I wanna be
this so that it is
confused.
understood for future episodes. Richard is very loud and proud that his favorite Survivor winners are Kim Spradlin and Yul Kwan.
And trust me, folks, you won't forget that.
You will not
It's
forget
just
it.
general knowledge at
It's
this point.
general
General knowledge
knowledge.
at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not-
Had to get
We're
that
not
in there.
explaining that now.
Please,
no,
please,
we can't.
please.
We can't.
No, but what we will explain is Big Brother.
No.
Please.
Big Brother!
Oh my god.
Nice.
You had to do the TV intro.
It's like the worst fucking intro, but I love it.
It's not awful.
Should I go first since mine is chronologically?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Big Brother 14.
Ben and I have a total of 3 seasons.
Three
one
seasons
for
of
Ben,
Big
one for
Brother.
myself, and then one that we're both taking.
Yeah. Big Brother 14 was the first Big Brother season I really knew, like, oh, this is what Big Brother is. Like,
What a great cast.
Great fucking cast. Like, I have vivid memories of Ian Terry, arms up, walking out of the house after beating fucking Dan Giesling in the final two. Which, to be fair, I think Ian fully deserved the win on Big Brother.
I agree.
His goodbye message to Boogie, like, right after he was
Yeah.
so good. With that said, fucking Dan.
Fucking
I
Dan.
love him
Okay,
so much.
so for those of you who do not know, and this is also for Caroline and Kerry,
Yes.
the person who was runner-up, Dan Giesling, is
One Big Brother.
Fucking Dan.
is regarded as is highly regarded as one of the best winners of the show.
Yeah.
He won
Okay.
season, I believe,
10.
10?
Big Brother
10. Thank you. I want just clarification on that one.
He beat Memphis in the final two, I think.
Yeah, no. Okay, but I mean, okay, and Boogie had won by then.
Boogie
Boogie
won
had
season
by
7.
then. Yeah.
Boogie's
Boogie
such
had
a
one of my
fun
favorite.
name.
I love going back and watching BB14 just for the way they introduced the. So the whole twist of the season was that there were 14 house guests originally, and then there were 4 coaches who were returning players coming back into the game. It was Boogie, who won BB7, Dan, who won BB14, Janelle from BB3 and 6, and then Brittany from BB12.
That's right.
And my favorite thing is just seeing them all walk in the house, mainly Dan and Boogie. Because Dan literally walks in there, just throws the bag, throws his arms up, like everyone's hype. And then Boogie comes in and just goes, "Daddy's home!"
Yep.
Oh, I
Okay,
like
I need to.
that.
Okay, you remind me of Brittany, and I need to just take a quick shout out for one of the most heartbreaking moments for an individual. BB12, I believe, was Brittany's season, right?
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, BB12 had a 4-person alliance,
The Brigade.
the Brigade, and the
Oh,
Brigade.
you've talked about this.
And for those of you who have watched Survivor, you may also recognize Hayden Moss from Blood vs. Water. At
No
the
one,
time,
no one wants to date anyone who doesn't make the merge.
at the time, Kat's boyfriend.
Oh, poor cat.
And so, for those of you who don't know, Hayden won Big Brother 12, but at the final 4, because at that point one of the Brigade members had gone home.
Matt went home early in BB12.
Now, I have to say, the Brigade has, I mean, I love the nicknames.
Oh yeah.
The
What was fucking
nicknames
Enzo? What was
were great.
Enzo's
No, I'll
nickname?
get there because this is the best one. And so they each had their own nicknames. So Hayden was the animal, Lane was the beast, Matt was the brains, and Enzo gave himself his own name because this was his idea. Enzo Palumbo, the meow meow.
Big Brother is the dumbest reality show on television, and I love it so much.
Okay, wait, but going back to it. So I believe it was all the 3 guys remaining, which were Enzo, Lane, and Hayden,
Yep.
sat Brittany down and just said to her, and they just go, "We wanted to let you." This was right before the eviction ceremony, and they go, "We just wanted to tell you, the 3 of us and one other person have been in alliance the whole time. We're sorry. We're gonna send you home tonight." And then it cuts to her in the diary room crying, going like, "How would you feel if you just got told,
That you're going home.
fuck
no
you,
matter
you're
what.
not going to win $1 million. We're sending your ass home
Not
now."
even $1 million.
Like, you're not winning shit.
Would you have
Like,
preferred to have been blindsided in that moment?
I don't know. I think there is something to be said for both, because I feel like Blindside definitely makes for a better TV moment, but I think especially if you're going to send someone to jury, it also leaves a great sense of betrayal. So I think, like, being told, hey, you're not about to win $500K is, while on paper not really great, it also I think is better, like, mentally, because I know there are a lot of, like, going back to BB24, which is currently airing, Daniel, when he was evicted, he basically knew he was going to get evicted and blew up his own game, but that's a whole other thing. I think of that, at least personally, I would want to be told just so that I could, like, mentally prepare, okay, this is it for me, I appreciate you telling me, I don't know if I'll factor that into jury voting, but I just, like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So personally,
But yeah, going back to
would-
BB14.
BB14. So yeah, so the coach's twist was okay. Ian's a great winner. I love the Quack Pack Alliance.
Quackback.
Dan, yeah.
I love that.
Who was it? I know they did an interview about Dan's funeral, and if you know Big Brother, you know Dan's funeral. It's one of the best moves in
Iconic
games
moment.
history. I don't know who like said it specifically, but I want to say it was either Brittany or Danielle who said they like won't say the words Quack Pack out loud. They just hate it.
Big Brother originates such fun names.
That is something I love about Big Brother is the alliance names, because they can be so
Let's
funny.
go through. Okay. Chilltown
Chilltown's classic.
and the Hitmen are
Oh,
two of the
I know
greatest.
the Hitmen.
The greatest, and I'm gonna get to the Hitmen because I'm picking 16 spoilers, but after Ben does, finishes up on 14. But Chilltown, the Brigade, the names within the Brigade, the Meow Meow,
The meow meow.
let's see, oh my god. I'm gonna get to the BB16 ones because I love what they did with
Alright,
those
well,
names.
I'll wrap
Yeah,
up
go
real
ahead.
quick. BB14 is, I think, a great starter season. It has those returning players, which I think Big Brother might do returning players better than Survivor, because I feel like they sort of input them more, like, naturally and in lesser, like, doses, so there's not as much history to keep up with.
They hide them in boxes.
They do hide them in boxes.
Stowaways.
There was a stowaway twist on BB18 where actually one of the house guests from this season, Frank, came back in that way. Frank from BB14, Davon from BB17, and James from BB17, which we'll get to.
And
Nicole Franzel from Richard, Take It Away.
Big Brother 16, which is, okay, I think something that needs to be said is that I think a lot of people will relate to this. I think that when you watch reality TV, you kind of get a soft spot for the first season you watch.
Mm-hmm.
For me, with Survivor, that was Blood versus Water. 27 was the first season I
Fair.
watched. With Big Brother, it was 16. I had known about the show prior, but 16 was the first season I really got myself into.
I also forgot to mention one last thing about BB14. Russell Hance's brother was on that season.
What?
Yeah.
Willie Hance.
What?
Wait,
Okay, I was
and
like-
he got...
What?
Wait. And he... Can I say it, Ben?
You want
Go
to say
ahead.
it?
I'll say it.
Willie Hance got
Got
kicked
kicked
right out
off
of
the
the Big
show.
Brother house.
Like, production kicked him out of the house.
No, what?
What?
Okay,
He
wait.
okay, I'll explain. He won the first HOH. He was safe. That was whatever. He got into an argument with I think a guy named Joe,
I think you're right.
and got into an argument where he ended up like headbutting him.
Yup.
I'll show you guys the clip after we're done recording. But like,
And Willie Hance promptly got his ass kicked
like
right out of
literally,
the house.
Big Brother, the voice in the house was like, "Willie, go to the DR now," and he literally walks out. And
So
then
moral
And he never walked out of the front doors of the house. He walked out of the emergency exit, out of the diary room, just right out the house. The production let him know. They said, "You are going home." He did not say goodbye. Nothing. They just took him right out the house.
So
my
moral of
God.
the story, it runs in the family.
it
Yeah.
really
Also,
does.
Was
Brandon Hance.
this before or after? Was this his son? Was this Brandon's dad?
It might have been
It might have been
me
Question.
check.
So was this before or after Russell went on Survivor?
after.
because
Okay,
he
so
was
that
like, "Oh, I
whole-
don't want people to know I'm Russell's brother."
I don't want people to know I'm Russell's
And
nephew.
then Brandon Hance went on the show and
Twice.
was very crappy
Twice.
with his the nephew of Russell Hance, and either the nephew or son, we'll figure that out in a second, of Willie Hance. Not a great rep to be going into
Yeah.
reality TV with, but I digress.
Also,
he is Brandon's uncle.
Yes.
oh, so there
there's- I
must
think
be a
there's
third brother.
yeah,
So there's a third Hance who hasn't been on reality TV.
It's
yet.
our
How's
only time. Also,
Um,
I did really quick, just going back when this is kind of a few minutes ago, but when you said Dan's funeral, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
I have no context, but for whatever reason, and I'm going back to Survivor because this is just that's what I know. It just flashbacks to Johnny Fairplay's grandma. That's what I
Oh,
thought
not even
of.
close. So
Great,
I
that's
have
for
no-
another episode.
I don't know
That's
what-
for another
we
episode.
will get into Dan's funeral in another
That's for
time,
another
but it's
episode.
nothing like that.
We're already over the hour mark, but I need to get to BB16.
Go
We
ahead.
need to get
Go
17
for
in.
it.
Go for
BB16 is one of my favorite Big Brother seasons, if not my favorite Big Brother season ever. It has, in my opinion, personally, and I stand by this decision, say what you will, in my opinion, one of, if not the greatest Big Brother winner of all time in Derek Levasseur. Derek played this game masterfully. He was a strategic mastermind. He knew when to win comps, he knew when to throw comps. He knew when it wasn't good for him to be in power. He knew when to take the back seat. He knew when to kick it into high gear. And let's talk about the Hitmen. The Hitmen, which actually there's a video on this on YouTube. Feel free to look it up. I forgot who it's by, but full credit goes to them. Comparing the two huge final two deals of Big Brother, Chilltown, which was Dr. Will Kirby
And
and Mike Boogie Malin, and the Hitmen of Derek and Cody. Derek and Cody are actually statistically and game wise the best final two deal in the show's history. But it was a genius alliance. You had Derek, who was strategically genius, and then you had Cody, who was an absolute comp beast. And Cody talks about this. When he was going back on Big Brother 22 All Stars, he wanted to prove himself because part of what was seen of him on 16 was because when he was ready to make those impulsive decisions when he was in power and go, this guy needs to go, and it's all built on emotion, Derek was there to calm him and talk him off that ledge, stop him from making a rash decision, and really make the right move for their game. It had another twist of mind which is one of my entertainment favorites because it is so entertaining, and that is Team America. Team America was, in my opinion, a really great way to get the fans interacted and make some really good television. The scene of Cody getting on the chair in Victoria's face and going, "I am Batman. I am watching you through the night."
Oh my god, yeah.
Zach Rance yelling, "My gator shirt!" I forgot what it was, but everything was so good. I love the cast. The people who went before the game, before jury, for example, Jocasta. hilarious. Her diary
She
room.
made jury.
Did she? Oh, I'm sorry. She did make jury.
She was there for Jury Fury.
She did make jury. I'm sorry. Jury Fury is a great comp.
Great comp.
But I think Devin was hysterical. Joey, let me make a girls' alliance and then tell everybody and apologize for making a girls' alliance. Like it was so good. Frankie Grande has to be mentioned.
Oh,
What
has to.
a phenomenal player.
I want him back.
I love the way Frankie played. I wish he had won, although I think Derek is phenomenal. For those of you who don't know, in Big Brother there is sometimes a twist called Battle of the Block.
This
or
was
BLB.
2 seasons and it was not a good twist.
And Battle of the Block is basically, for those of you really quickly in short who don't know how Big Brother works, there's an HOH competition. Person who wins is head of household. That person gets their own exclusive bedroom, a letter from home, a gift basket. Then they pick 2 nominees. There's the power of veto competition. Whoever wins that, there's a whole picking process, but that's too complicated to get into. Whoever wins has the power to take someone off the block. Then the HOH needs to nominate someone else to take that spot. And then there's an eviction. In the Battle of the Block, there are 2 HOHs, and each individual puts 2 people on the block. And then the 2 people that were nominated by HOH1 and 2 nominated by HOH2 compete, and then the winner of that one dethrones their HOH. They are safe for the week, and the HOH is not safe anymore. And then there's the veto competition, and everything proceeds as normal.
You don't get, if you didn't get that, don't worry. Neither did the general public.
General public. So in one week, Frankie pissed off a lot of the house, and he was nominated up with Caleb, and so they had to go up against Zach and Donnie in a competition. Which I mean, I can't explain what it is. Please look it up. It is a great moment, and Caleb decides to sit in the competition, which is pretty dumb because he could have just thrown it. He could have just purposely thrown it. But he decides to sit out and leave Frankie to do it on his own. Frankie wins the competition on his own against 2 guys.
Wow.
Wins a 2-on-1.
And the HOH he dethroned, despite coming back, got evicted that week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god.
And so I think the season is so great, but it has one of my really frustrating twists, which is the button. This is where the button comes from.
Oh.
In Big Brother 16, there was a twist called the button, where there was a room unlocked in the house where it was just literally a big room with just a button in the middle and a timer. And
It also had a message just like the choice is yours.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty fucking cool.
And all they were told is you have the option to hit this button or not by the time the timer is complete.
How long was the timer for?
I think 24 hours.
Thank God.
And so
For us it was 24 seconds,
yes.
but
Now, unfortunately,
Another story.
and foreshadowing, Frankie hits the button. The button was a reset button. It reset the entire week. Frankie was HOH that week. He was safe. Frankie was HOH.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, can you fact check me? I think Frankie was HOH that week. And it got reset to where it was the beginning of the week. And then he lost HOH. And then he got nominated. And then the POV happened. Which, by the way, I think that week Frankie had won both HOH and POV. But it was a redo of those competitions.
That's so
And Frankie lost
unfortunate.
both competitions. Cody won the second competition. And Frankie got eliminated.
No.
On his own accord. He pressed the button.
Did he ever give any statement about how he felt afterwards or why he pressed the button?
I don't remember, but
Frankie was in fact HOH, put up Cody and Victoria.
Yep.
One veto, didn't use it, pushed the button, got reset then. Caleb won HOH, put up Frankie and Victoria. Cody won veto, didn't use it. Frankie was evicted 2-0.
That's so unfortunate.
What?
And so the thing is, I love this season, and just to go back really quickly before we go to 17, so we can wrap this up. The major alliance in the house was, first of all, there was the bomb squad, and then subsequently
Which
when
blew up.
when the bomb squad was ended, they kicked out a few members, I believe, and then they named the subsequent alliance the Detonators.
Nice.
Great names, but
You
let's
gotta
bring it
applaud that.
to one more season forward,
This will be the last season we talk about.
to Big Brother 17.
Which I personally like more than 16 just because I think it has more dynamic gameplay and I like the twists. I think I like the twists better here. Battle of the Block was back, but I don't know. I just didn't think it was as like
Instrumental in the gameplay.
instrumental in the gameplay as BB16.
Because the thing is, with BB16, you had the way that the bomb squad and the detonators, so the bomb squad played or detonators played the BOB competitions. It was kind of reliant on like, which one of us do we want to go up? Who do we want to put up as a pawn? Who do we want to do this and that to get to?
For those who know the YouTuber Peridium, when he did his Big Brother ranking, he talked about BB16 and how the Battle of the Block really sort of encouraged big alliances, which I think is a genuine like issue with it, and I'm kind of glad they didn't bring it back, because that's probably why the Bomb Squad was able to work so well in such like larger numbers.
The thing is that the way that I like Big Brother to be played, which you know, would be I think a big alliance with a smaller alliance within it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to play the game. If you have a small alliance that expands to a bigger one, I think a great example of that in a certain way is the Cookout, which I think I'm going to talk about that on a future episode, the master plan and everything, which I think is brilliant. But let's go to 17.
So BB17 had Battle of the Block, which again wasn't as instrumental, so I think it was mostly fine. And then there was the Twin Twist, which I really enjoyed.
I love the Twin Twist.
So the Twin Twist had two identical twins, Liz and Julia, and what they did was swap places in and out of the house, and they had to make it through 5 evictions. Once they made it through 5 evictions, they would be in the house together as separate players.
So
and I think that's really fun.
I did to mention this. The reason I like BB17, one of the reasons I like BB17 is because this is the second time they've done a Twin Twist. But this time, it was much better than the first time, and it became a strategy. Because, first of all, this is one reason why I love BB17. It introduced one of my favorite Big Brother players, Davon Rogers.
Davon.
Who I love so much.
Who, despite going out second, came back the next season, came back for BB All-Stars.
And is one of the biggest fan favorites in BB history.
Going out second on BB17.
And Davon is really perceptive.
Yes.
And she figured out the Twin Twist and everything. And so...
Which is why the Scamper Squad evicted her.
But, exactly.
Scamper Squad.
Yes, but the other side of it is the way the Twin Twist was used was genius.
Agreed.
And this is majorly on Vanessa, which I think we're going to talk about her a lot. Vanessa is brilliant.
Vanessa Russo, one of the best to never win.
Agreed. And the way that Vanessa looked at this was really clever. It was, instead of getting rid of them, let's use them as a number. Let's keep them in the house, bring them along past those 5 evictions, and bring in another number on our side of the house. And it was so geniusly played. And then there was Shelly and Clay. Shelly, who damn near shit her pants because Liz, either Liz or Julia, if not both of them, are her sorority sisters. They're from the same sorority. Different universities, but the same sorority.
Oh my god.
And so...
Something I love is that...
And the best part of it, in my opinion, was Austin's reaction to finding out that Liz, who he had been in a showmance with, was a twin. He had been...
Oh.
He didn't know...
Wait, he was
the idiot.
Was he in a showmance with both?
He was in a showmance with Liz,
one of them.
but Liz was swapping, so there
Wait,
were
no,
times where he
no.
wasn't with Liz. He was with, I'm using air quotes, Liz, which was actually Julia.
Wait, so he was with both, technically.
Technically.
Question.
thinking
But
it's the
he
same
thought it was just one of
person.
them.
Question. I know like a general amount about BB.
General
amount.
No. But with the Twin Twist, do the twins get to interact with each other?
Yes.
They-
So the way it
Well, as
works,
they swim?
so here's how it works. So there is one that is designated as the main twin. This is the twin that goes through all of the big moments of the game. They go through the HOH, POV comps, the ceremonies,
I think
everything.
Liz was the main.
It was Liz.
Okay.
Liz was the main twin because Liz was better in comps. If you ever watch UV17, Liz is good at competitions. Julia is not. So basically, the way it worked was the only times that they would swap a few times throughout, and basically it would be like Liz would get called into the DR, the diary room, just for what everybody else thought was just like a regular interview. They figured out eventually that it was for the swap.
Well, Davon did.
Yes. And so basically they would go in, there was one of those like the foldable barriers set up where the twins would switch clothes, make sure that everything was the same, nail polish to this to that. Like, I remember they even talked about, like, one time they swapped, and it was after Devon figured it out, and they were like, you need to, it was like, you need to gain weight, I need to lose weight, da-da-da-da-da. It was like, Devon's figuring it out, one of us is a little bit bigger, da-da-da-da. Like, it's, like,
So they're identical twins.
they're identical twins. They have to be. And so they would
Just-
swap.
yeah.
So they swapped, and then one would go to a remote location, the other one would go.
How many times?
They had, I believe, 15 minutes to fill the other one in on the most recent thing that had happened in the game.
Okay.
So
But like, how much time between like? Is it like a week thing?
I'm
like,
not sure.
So
it
like,
was,
how
it
much?
was scattered. Like sometimes it was longer, sometimes it was shorter because of the competitions, because of this and that.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, once Julia got in the house, it became the Ost twins, which was Austin and the twins, the Ost twins.
With like a ship name.
Kind of, not
Well, he
really.
Or
was
like
with-
a mini.
Well, he was with both of them.
It was a mini alliance. Because Austin's main alliance was Liz. If I'm not mistaken, I think the thing is, one thing that Big Brother showmans have a really bad history of is half of the showmans having a relationship back at home.
Did Austin and Liz go anywhere after the show?
Probably not.
For a little bit. I
It's not-
believe Austin had a girlfriend outside the house. The similar thing happened on maybe 16, where Christine was flirting with Cody despite having a boyfriend
It's
back
not
home.
as bad as
Husband, sorry.
It's not as bad
Oh.
as
Husband.
Whitney on Survivor South Pacific.
Oh yeah.
Who fully cheated on, I don't know if it was her boyfriend or her husband,
Yeah.
with Keith, who she is now married to.
But yeah,
Didn't they also go on The Amazing Race?
I think so. Can we please talk about 17? Let's talk about 17. I think it was a really great season. Vanessa played geniusly. Steve, not a bad winner. I wish it
I
was
really
Vanessa.
like Steve.
Steve was a good winner. He made the right move of getting rid of Vanessa at the final 3, because Liz was not hard for him to beat.
Amazing Race
Yeah.
25. Keith and Whitney, I was right.
Did I need to see
Yeah,
if I
but
watched
Ben,
that
continue.
season.
Your thoughts on 17?
I just think 17 is great gameplay. I know it has a bigger alliance in the Scamper Squad, which
Yeah.
I'm perfect. Look, to me, alliances are cool. Like, bigger alliances are cool if they are entertaining. I really liked the Leftovers from BB24 because they were entertaining until Kyle went and fucked it. But
Let
that's
me
a whole
ask
other
you.
thing.
Okay, wait. Do you remember what was the name of the 6-person alliance in BB17? It was Shelly, Clay, Vanessa, Julia, Liz, and Austin. I think it was like the Sixth Sense.
It might have been. Let me see Austin's like. Again, thank you, Wiki. You're the best. Yeah, Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense was Austin, Clay, Julia, Liz, Shelly, and Vanessa.
I loved that alliance.
And then John and Steve were like. Also, Johnny Mac.
Johnny Mac.
Bring him back, CBS. Bring back
What
Johnny
an
Mac.
entertaining freaking like casting choice. Like Johnny Mac, the dentist, so entertaining.
So, yeah.
But I think yeah.
I think BB17 is just a wildly entertaining season. I think it is very similar to like 42 or like David vs. Goliath. Like modern Big Brother done well, and I don't know. I just really enjoy it. All right, so yeah. So that's all from us. Great outro, me. Good job. That's all from us at the
Yay.
Crossroads of Reality podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed our first episode. We will be back sooner rather than later with Survivor 43 preview. Like, you haven't been listening to like 20 of those over the past few weeks. And we can't wait for that then. So thank you all for listening.